Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. Please let me know that my sound is good because it was acting weird a while ago, but it says it's on, so we're going to try it anyway. The mic on the phone is no good. These have been working real good, but maybe I need to charge them. I don't know. In technology, great most of the time. It really is. There are really some really cool advantages about having technology. I mean, for instance, we get to do Facebook Live, right? We get to go live on Facebook. So, and then reach all 8 of you. It's actually more than that. But anyway, I do hope you had a good weekend. I hope you have a good week planned. Why don't you just plan for a good week now? If we just plan this week, and I'm already off, but if we plan this week and we plan to just trust God every single day, we're going to get through this week okay. It's going to be all right because we're going to, no matter what happens, no matter what comes at us, there's going to be stuff happen. There's going to be stuff come at us. Maybe we'll have a perfect week. Maybe we won't. Either way, we're going to trust God. And so it's going to be great no matter what, right? Here's where I was this morning. I actually opened my Bible to I was reading Psalm 18. Psalm 18 is a really powerful one. It's a little bit longer than some, but it's not as long as 119, right? And this is the psalm that David wrote after he defeated Saul. So he was at a high point in his life. He had just defeated Saul, and now he was going to be the king God had promised all those years. There was no more running. There was no more hiding. He's out of the cave. He's won the victory. Life is on a high note, and it's going well, right? And so that's where he was when he wrote Psalm 18. Well, there's a part of Psalm 18 that we love, right? We love the first few verses. I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer, my God, my strength. In him I will trust, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised. That's how I'm saved from my enemies. That's an awesome one, right? That's an awesome 2 or 3 verses there. And then later he says, in verse 25, with the merciful, you show yourself merciful. With the blameless, you show yourself blameless. With the pure, you show yourself pure. With those who are devious, you're going to show yourself shrewd, or you're going to be just as crooked as they are, so to speak, not in a negative, deceitful type of way. It's just like you're not going to get a straight answer if you're not trying to serve God in a straight way, right? And not straight. You'll just be okay. Anyway, but there's a part of Psalm 18 that I have never been able to pray this. Okay, I know that's right. I pray scriptures. I love finding the scriptures and praying them. I declare them. I've got some great stories about times where I've pulled scriptures and declared them and saw God move. And matter of fact, I'm pulling some together on one specific area of my life right now to start declaring those, maybe 2, as a matter of fact. But anyway, but this scripture I've never been able to do. Here it is. It says, David says in Psalm 18, verse 20, the Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. No, I know that's no, because I'm not. I'm not there, right? He has recompensed me, for I have kept the ways of the Lord and have not wickedly departed from my God. I can't say I've always done that. As a matter of fact, any given day, I can get angry at my situation and just be railing, so to speak, toward God, going, why did you let this happen? Why did that happen? Why did this? Why didn't you tell me this? Why would you let this happen? Why? Right? Lots of whys. I can't say I've always just kept God's ways perfectly. I can't say I haven't. Now, I can mostly say I haven't wickedly departed from God, because I'm always like David coming back, right? All of his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from iniquity. That's a pretty bold statement, right? Now remember, David's on a high. And I'm not saying he's ever done anything. He hasn't done anything that we know of at this point. He's killed Goliath. He's beat Saul. He's seen some stuff. He's got blood on his testimony. He's got some stories of how God has brought him through. And so as far as we know, though, he ain't done nothing really big, bad, wrong, right? He said, I was blameless before him. I kept myself from iniquity. Therefore, the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. That's a really bold statement, y'all. I don't think I could ever make that. If God recompensed me according to my righteousness and the way I do things, he'd probably just kick me out of the kingdom. Now, this is the good thing, is that we're a New Testament, right? We're on the side of grace. Even on that side of grace, it didn't matter. And we have that grace. When we do mess up, he's got grace, right? He brings us right back to him. So we stand in Jesus' righteousness. I don't have to be righteous on my own. I don't have to follow the law to try to be righteous enough for God to accept me now, right? God covers us. When God looks at us, he sees us through the blood of Christ, and we are on this side of the cross, and we are righteous because he is our righteousness, not because of our deeds. Now we want to line our deeds up with that righteousness and line it up with the word because we want to follow God and do things the right way, right? But David's saying, I'm righteous. I haven't done it. Job said that too. Job, it was one of the things Job said. They kept saying, what did you do wrong that all this bad things happened to you? And he's like, I didn't do anything. I have kept my way right before God. And we can say that, at least in the essence of, even if I mess up, I come back. If I mess up, I repent. If I mess up, I go, oh, I didn't know, or, things like that. But we find a different David in Psalm 51. Psalm 51 is written right after that just pivotal meeting with Nathan, the prophet, who came to him and said, you stole somebody else's sheep, right? Do you remember the story? Bathsheba's out bathing on the roof because this is the hot desert they live in, right? And David looks over and sees this fine chick and he says, I'm the king. I can have anything I want. Bring her to me. Because she was a loyal subject, she came. He commits adultery. Then he realizes she's pregnant. He realizes what he's done. So he sends her husband to the front lines on purpose so that he gets killed immediately, right? And so then he can have her as his wife. That way nobody knows that he's really committed a grave sin against the nation, against God, against himself, against Bathsheba. Nobody ever went and got Bathsheba's take on this story, right? I'd like to hear her side of the story. Maybe I'll write that. Maybe I won't. Anyway, and so here comes Nathan the prophet, and he goes, King, there was a man who had all the sheep he wanted. And there was another man that only had one sheep. And he went and took that sheep from that shepherd that only had one. And David says, who is this horrible, vile person? Go bring him, kill him. Let's get rid of him. He's going to pay. He should never take something that's not his. And especially if he already has enough. And then Nathan says, King David, that's you. And David realized what he had done. He could have had any woman in the land, but he went after somebody else's wife, right? By their cultural standards and things, they could have 2 or 3, I guess. They had concubines. I don't know how all that worked. I don't even care, right? I'm not really into all the culture part, but he could have had anybody. He could have had any woman in the land, but he went after somebody that belonged to somebody else. She was somebody else's wife. So he's committed this grave sin. Then he realizes, I'm pretty sure he realized before that, but now he's been caught with what he already knew. He didn't do any of that blindly. He actually did it on purpose. He saw her, wanted her, didn't use any restraint, went and got what he wanted. And now Nathan's come and said, you are the man. You are the one. And David is broken all of a sudden because he realized his hand, he was playing a poker hand and he was going to lose, right? And so in Psalm 51, we find a very different David. And he says this, he says, I acknowledge my transgressions and my sins are always before me. Against you and you only have I sinned and done this evil in your sight. He's crying out, he's saying, have mercy on me, O God, because you're merciful. He says, according to the multitude of your mercies, blot out my transgression. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity. Cleanse me from my sin. What a turnaround from, I've always been righteous before God. I stand before God perfect, and I've done everything. I've always followed hard after God, and I have not been led astray. And now all of a sudden, he's found himself in a situation where he acted less than perfect, less than righteous, less than holy, far less than what God expected out of a godly king and out of a godly heart, right? Somebody who was pursuing God. And now he's going, behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, right? In sin, my mother conceived me. He's like, but you can make me know wisdom. He says, create in me a clean heart, O God. Let me go back to that place in Psalm 18 where I was saying, I stand in your righteousness alone. Take me back there. Create in me a clean heart. Renew a right, steadfast spirit in me so that don't cast me away from your presence. See, before he's going, oh no, I'm holy before God, and God has rescued me from Saul, and everything's going great. And now he's going, God, don't cast me away. I'm not as righteous as I thought. I'm not as holy as I thought. I'm not as perfect as I thought. God, don't cast me away. And we see in that his intense desire to be with God anyway. And we see that intense desire to follow God, to follow after God, to serve God, eke through, even here in his weakness. He's coming back and he's going, God, I know I messed up. I know I'm not worthy, but I still want you. He could have said, well, I went and got whatever I wanted, and this just doesn't matter. So God can either be with me or he cannot. But here we see he's repentant. We see his heart. I really want to serve God. Have you ever found yourself in a place where you go, I really want to serve God, but I feel like I've messed everything up? You know what? God doesn't cast us away. He never says, yeah, you sure did. Oh, no. My mind went to Jonah again. There in the belly of the well. He had rebelled. He had run. He had on purpose disobeyed God, went the total opposite direction, and God still met him right there in the belly of the well with mercy and grace and peace. Restitution, right? So no matter what you've done, good or bad, first off, you're not the one in Psalm 18 that's righteous. Nobody is righteous without the blood of Christ, right? But we stand complete in his righteousness. We're clothed in it. We are righteous because of what he did, not because of anything we've done. But if we find ourselves in a situation where we've been less than perfect, where we've messed things up, whether on purpose, like Jonah and David here with Bathsheba, whether on purpose or unintentionally. David said at one time, find my secret faults, find my secret sins, those things I don't know I've done. Whether we're in any boat, any side of that spectrum, God will meet us right where we are every single time, because his mercies, I renewed my subscription to his mercies this morning. Did you? His mercies are new every morning. His grace is enough for today. He's got us covered. He's not going to abandon us. He's going to meet us right where we are. And that's why we can peace out, because he's got us no matter what. Peace out. Hope I said something that made sense today. Have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.